How
when it
much
comes
more?
to Patriots.
How much more can Jacoby Brissett take? You were kind enough to go back and find a few plays where he took hits, sacks, some just after the ball had actually left his hands. But you got to wonder, because also this, Andrew, we all remember his time when he got the starts here when Tom Brady was serving the 4-game suspension, and he was durable for game and a half, 2 games, and then he wasn't able to go anymore. This is apparently a little bit tougher, Jacoby Brissett, but you can only take so much.
Yes. And the thing that scares me, Hardy, is not that Jacoby Brissett isn't getting up. Like, he's still getting up in a way that normally there would be a body there outlined, like crime scene situation, the way he's getting hit and driven into the turf. It's that his performance under pressure has progressively gotten worse in a way that reminds me, loosely, he's a better quarterback, he's a tougher player, but what we saw with Mac Jones last year. Like, Mac Jones in weeks 1 and 2, people forget, against Philly and the Dolphins, was really competitive, really composed under pressure. Plays kind of crappy against the Jets in week 3. Just like Jacoby Brissett, then goes on the road in a game the Patriots get blown out and has a pick 6 and falls apart, just like Jacoby Brissett. So against pressure yesterday, or 2 days ago, he was 5 of 13 with a pick and 6 sacks. So to me, if this continues to trend that way against Miami, where the first sign of pressure, he's kind of bailing, he had good plays against pressure, that to me is, okay, this is a compound effect that's a real problem that he might not be able to come back from.
But then you can't play May. Because if that's happening to a veteran, then you can't play May in that situation, can you?
And it hasn't happened yet. Like, we remember Mac Jones against the Saints was like, oh, you thought the Cowboys game was bad, right? Like, that was booed off the field at halftime. Bad. I don't think that's going to happen with Jacoby Brissett, for the record, not to mention the pass rush of the Dolphins. Not as good as what he saw in San Francisco against the Jets. But this is the worst pass-protecting offensive line I've ever seen. And I watched the tape. Like, this is that bad. This is historically bad so far.
And you were telling us we were worried about the left tackle going in the game against San Francisco, and you were saying, well, there are ways to mitigate that. You can motion a wide receiver over there. You can put an extra tight end over there. You can have the back chip on the way out. None of that mattered. None of it. And I saw what I was looking for it during the game. They tried that. They lined up 2-3 tight ends to Bosa's side. It didn't matter. The tackle was bad. The offensive line is bad. It doesn't matter what they try and scheme up. It's all bad.
So it mattered at left tackle, which I was shocked going back and watching this, being like, okay, when are the hurries coming? Where are the hits? Where are the sacks? There are 4 in the first half. I have none marked down for like the first 20 minutes of the first half. DeMontre Jacobs, who's now in our lives as the Patriots left tackle, gave up 1 hurry in the whole first half because of the help you're talking about. Hunter Henry, go over here. Ramondre Stevenson, chip on your way out. That was fine. What was not fine was Layden Robinson, the rookie right guard, getting tossed around like a rag doll, specifically at the end of the first half. He gave up as many pressures as DeMontre Jacobs did. So you have 2 linemen on their own giving up 10 pressures. There are 3 others on the field. That's how bad it was, because the plan that they had worked initially, and then they went away from it. Nothing, as you said, mattered.
Okay, so we know that the offensive line is the worst pass-protecting offensive line you've ever seen. We know this receiver group is not very good, John and Hardy. But
well, it's so difficult to tell. But go ahead.
But you said that from your perspective, the play calling has been not imaginative at all. How much is Alex Van Pelt to blame for what's going on right now?
Yeah, so I would say, I don't know what we're doing, like blame pie or percentage wise, but if you want to ballpark it, 30 to 40%.
Okay, so you think with a more inventive offensive coordinator, this offense would be moving more?
It would be better, appreciably better. I don't know. Like, again, we're talking about an offensive line that flip a coin, if it comes up heads, is giving up pressure that snap. That's what the pressure rate is right now. The receivers are not getting open against man coverage. That's up to them. Coaches get you open against zone. Receivers have to just free themselves one-on-one. That's not really happening. But to the point about coaches getting you open versus zone, San Francisco just plays zone. That's like all they do. Patriots average 3.5 yards per drop back against zone coverage against San Francisco. That's with a pass protection plan that helped against Nick Bosa. That's with a quick passing game that got the ball out of Jacoby Brissett's hands. It went nowhere. That shouldn't happen when you're dropping back to pass and you're going basically 10 feet when they're in zone coverage. So it's not just that and the stats and whatever happened in the talent. The bones of this offense are from Green Bay about 10 years ago. Like Mike McCarthy offense, old school West Coast offense, which is timing, a lot of isolation routes. It's on the receivers to win one-on-one. And that worked when he was working with Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, and Greg Jennings. It doesn't work when you have KJ Osborne and Pop Douglas and pick Tyquan Thornton or Jalen Polk. They're not good enough yet to do that. So they need to give them more help with the way they're designing and calling the offense.
Talk to me about Alex Van Pelt's thinking, play calling, where you have 4th and 1, you kind of fake a tush push, then you call timeout, and after the timeout, you run the ball right into the center of the line with a backup center.
Not great. I will say.
You were saying Alex Van Pelt's 30 to 40%. How much of the blame pie is there?
I would say ponderous.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know who else you can put in there when David Andrews is out. Do you want to go to the 3rd string center?
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the play calling behind that guy. You ran right behind that guy who has proven not to be good. One would think maybe a different formation, different personnel. You had a timeout to think about it, and you still came up with that.
The fastest way to go from point A to point B is a straight line. Nick Leverett or not, you just got to go straight ahead. But the other thing is, too, when you look at the start of the 3rd quarter, I thought they were going to run. The Niners thought they were going to run. The whole stadium thought they were going to run, and they booted and threw a play-action touchdown to Austin Hooper. Wide open. That's a good play call by him. It does not wash out, does not erase, it does not cancel all the bad play calls that you're talking about. But I look at this and go, the talent is chiefly the number one problem. Second to that is, okay, what are you doing with it? Because the less talent you have, the more coaching matters. And this is where you see, and he even admits, I think this was last week, going, yeah, I probably went too pass heavy. The week before, 2 weeks before that, going, I didn't have as many plays as I needed on the play sheet. He's got growing pains. He's a 54-year-old man, but he's a first-time play caller full-time since 2009. These are those growing pains.
Speaking of centers, what is David Andrews' status?
I don't know yet. I've reached out a couple people on that. Nothing back yet. I will say that is, for my money, top 5 toughest guy in the locker room, probably top 3. And so for him to go out after one drive where I couldn't even identify the play that he got hurt on, but no physical signs of having a shoulder injury, that seems like bad news to me because he would tough it out in any way that he could.
All right. Oh, sorry. I was eating, so I turned off my mic. Respect for you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very
You didn't
impressive.
You didn't have to hear me chewing.
Very respectful.
Yeah.
Have a meal of food
Thanks,
while Andrew's
Fred.
sitting here pouring his heart out.
Do you want it to get cold and have me suffer?
Yes.
Yes.
You would really like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
God, you're selfish. So if David Andrews is out, you've already said the line, and David Andrews is a good center. I mean, he's good as it goes in terms
One of the 2 guys you can point at and go, that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, if you were around the league and you said David Andrews is your center, you'd be like, hot dog, this is my center.
That's a guy.
Yeah, so if he's gone, I'm worried. At this point, I'd be like a little
I'm
worried.
starting to have some questions about this offensive line.
No, but seriously, like David Andrews, if he was like a street free agent, right?
Yeah.
People would be like, "Oh, give me him!" Like,
Right.
Ragnow's better than him. There's not I don't know how many people are better than David Andrews.
What's the food that you say opposite of hot dog when you're like, oh no, David Andrews out? Like, hot dog, I can sign David Andrews. SpaghettiOs, like David Andrews is out. What are we going with?
Yeah,
here?
it would be like, well, I don't know, whatever garbage you want to throw my way. But so if he's out, is there anything they can do at that point? Can they run? Can they establish a running game with David Andrews out? I'll say that.
How many bites do you want in this break? I'll go 20 seconds. We can do 30.
Everything that
We go
needed to be
45.
hot has been consumed.
Oh, good.
Nice. Good. Yes, they can still run the ball, but the pass protection could also get worse because David Andrews, as the center in Alex Van Pelt's offense, is in charge of the protections. This is not Tom Brady at the line controlling every little facet of the offense, protections, audibles, route changes. That's on the center now to do that. And if Drake May comes in, it will be more so on him than Jacoby Brissett, who can say, oh, you missed this. Here comes the backside blitzer through the B gap. We got to account for him. This goes to Nick Leverett, who's not really played center in the NFL, botched 3 or 4 snaps in training camp. Didn't botch any Sunday. Credit to him. I only had him down for 1 pressure allowed and basically the entire game. But it's obviously going to be worse. I think the mistakes will be worse, even if you get the same rate of them, if that makes sense.
Okay, so Ramondre Stevenson establishing the running game. He's fumbled in 4 straight games. Belichick would have him out by now.
Yeah, on the street.
Well, he would have him he would have him sitting. I mean, you agreed that he would bench
Yes.
Ramondre
Yeah.
Stevenson.
Oh, my God. I would have
agree with that,
benched
too.
Being
Ramondre
active.
Stevenson
Yes.
on Sunday.
Okay, so we've talked to some people about it. There's been mixed reviews, but everyone agrees that no matter what you achieve running the ball, you fumbling it and turning it over in 4 consecutive games pretty much negates anything positive that you've done. And there have been a couple games, whether it's his fault or not, he hasn't performed. I mean, he hasn't gotten the yards. What do you think Mayo's tactic should be with Ramondre Stevenson? Were you surprised? I guess he sat out a series. Were you surprised that there wasn't more of a message sent his way?
I was shocked, like actually shocked. And when we talked to Mayo after the game, his quote was more about Ramondre's body language, because he spoke with Ramondre right after the fumble. He goes, "That's not really what we want. The fumbling, no one's more disappointed than him. It is what it is." Like, the sound of that in a vacuum is like your kid coming home from school and faking that he's upset he got a D in the test, and then he gets to go to his room, no punishment. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I know Ramondre's upset, but there got to be consequences for giving the ball away to the other team, or at least risking that 4 games in a row. You're the best player. You're touching the ball on basically half of your snaps. If you're then fumbling it once out of every 20 times, you are hurting the rest of your teammates, the rest of your coaches, the whole offense that needs all the help it can get. I thought he should have at least sat through halftime, because right now there's been no consequences. And the head coach is going, "Oh, it is what it is." That's it?
Right. Especially with fumbling, which you can avoid, right? Someone punches a ball out, you go, all right. 4 games in a row, that's an issue. That's it. And anything, so you agree, anything he does, as important as he is for this team, gets essentially negated every time he turns the ball over. It's worse to turn the ball over than it is good to run for 70 yards.
If you have anything else, and you brought up Belichick at the beginning of this, the old coach would have said, yes, because you have Tom Brady in there, and even if you don't have any other weapons, he's going to elevate somebody else, and they're going to figure out a way to do it. That's all they have. You have a quarterback who can't pass. He doesn't have time to pass. You have other guys who can run the ball, I guess. But if you're looking at offensive high watermark for the season, all right, it was 3-4 weeks ago now in the season opener against the Bengals. But that's it. That's all you've had. Ramondre Stevenson is responsible for the one offensive bright spot you've had this season. So if you sit him, that's another message to the locker room. I'm not sure which is the worst message to be sending, by not sitting him or sitting him and saying, I know what this means, guys. We literally have no offense now, but we got to send a message about fumbling. Well, wait a second. We have no offense? Nah, no offense. But that's the message we got to send, because he coughed the rock up a couple times.
Well, it's not even a message, though. Like, if he's fumbling, do you have offense then with him on the field? Like, that's the point where I'm at, to the point of negation. Like, if he's having 100 yards and a touchdown around the fumbling, you go, okay, we can stomach this. And that's not on him, right? Like, they need to clear more running lanes. But he's not doing that. He's not even getting to 100 yards total the last 2 games, rushing and receiving. So he is their best player. That's why he's still on the field. And they're not saying, take a hike, we'll see you in London. Like, we just can't put you out there. No, we have to put you out there. My point is, if you're going to fix this, if you're going to really send a message to him, who told me after the Jets game, like, yeah, just hold it. I just got to hold it better. I didn't really learn anything. This is just another loss. Like, that's not good enough. No. You're giving the ball away. They talk about ball security as job security. Okay, well, stop talking the talk and walk the walk.
Yeah.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.